Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to go on a clunky adventure in the Mitsubishi through town. This car, or this truck, is old and it makes a lot of noise. So if you want to stay with me for this message to derive the benefit of hearing it, that would be great. But if not, there are plenty of other channels to watch. So in this video, you guys, I want to talk about the facial muscles and learning to relax them, and how this, in my opinion, is directly linked to accelerated aging or lack thereof. When we carry a lot of tension in our muscles, when we're constantly frowning, when we're constantly holding our faces in unnatural positions. And there's a myriad of different ways in which we learn to train our facial muscles to be bound to unnatural positions. I like to call these aberrations of the facial muscles. So, long story short here, let me just try to keep this really simple and really short and sweet. Most people walk around the fucking Matrix tense as fuck, and it's not just in the face. It's in the arms, it's in the chest, it's in the ass muscles, it's in your groin. You guys don't know how programmed your muscle memory has become. You're walking around like a piece of flesh that's just been pumped full of adrenaline. You're stiff. You've got to learn to lower your stress hormones. You've got to learn to fucking relax. And that's why we have the full body relaxation exercise, folks. That is why we've put this together. That is why I preach it so much. The full body relaxation exercise is something that I first learned from Philip Cooper in one of his books, but it's a much older exercise that I learned or was mentioned or has been mentioned in various yoga books. You know, John Mumford's book on Kundalini Awakening, he even talks about this. But I've taken it and I've modified it and I've taken it to the extremes, and we've talked about that in the past when, you know, we incorporate chakra work and shungite into the exercises and minerals. But long story short, you guys, the full body relaxation exercise will show you, if you actually care enough to do it, it will show you over time how much garbage you've been carrying in your muscles, how stiff you've become, and how the stiffness and the tightness of your muscles literally programs your reality through your psychosomatic entrainment programming, through your subconscious. You see, your subconscious mind isn't just some mental thing that's off in the distance behind some curtain somewhere. It's woven into your flesh. What do you think happens when your body gets a cut and you start the healing process, the clotting process, so that you don't bleed out? Your subconscious mind instructs all of your physiological processes, cells, etc. It knows exactly how to heal your monkey ass. That's the level of intelligence that our subconscious mind has. And that's also the drastic schism, ladies and gentlemen, between the stupidity of the conscious mind and the absolute brilliance of the subconscious. This is how far we've fallen. We don't have a relationship with our incredible subconscious anymore. It's a damned shame. I mean, if you really understood just how much potential we've shat on, you'd be sick to your stomach. Now, I do my best to harbor patience on this channel for humanity, but the herd, the general consensus, and the mass inertia, the movement of the herd is absolutely vile. It's disgusting. So when I first started off with, becoming conscious, I wanted to do the whole right-hand path thing of, this is all about love. Everything happens for a reason. Just accept everything. Patience, patience, patience. Until I finally woke up through the continual disappointment and destructive currents that come from resonating on that right-hand path. Everything is love. Everything happens for a reason. Bullshit-ass motherfucking path. Excuse my language, folks. But we're living in a predatory, self-consuming, self-recycling universe. You might want to start deifying yourself a little bit more instead of some invisible God out there. You might want to start actually doing the work and actually materializing through your efforts the magnum opus instead of sitting on your ass. This is not a joke, folks. Reality, this is a real, living, breathing thing here. Utilize your time wisely. But where was I going with that? Your body has been conditioned to be tense, and this is largely through the bastardization of the vertebral portals or the vertebral openings. So you sleep in a bed, which unfortunately is designed in a way that it doesn't support your spine the way that it should, and your discs and all of your stuff gets constricted, folks, your spine. Most people's beds, over the period of about a 6-month period after you get them, they start to warp. And when you sleep in a warped bed, your spine warps. This is why anytime you look at a used bed, there's usually a spot where the person regularly sleeps, and it creates a contour, or not a contour, it creates a dip. So you're sleeping in that padded dip. And because of that, and because you're sleeping on a padded surface in general, your weight doesn't push down against your skeletal frame the way that it should, or the way that it would if you were laying on the ground. So sleeping on carpet is about 1,000,000 times better, folks, than sleeping on a bed. Sleeping on a carpet, it's about 1,000,000 times better than sleeping on a bed. Sleeping on a hardwood floor is even better, but I understand that not a lot of people want to do that. I do that periodically throughout the year. I'll sleep on a hardwood floor or a carpeted surface, and then I'll sleep on a bed when it's colder. Vice versa. There were times, however, that during winter I would sleep on the hardwood floor just to build some inner strength. Everyone says, I can't sleep on the floor, it's cold. Oh my goodness. Think about how weak we've become. Where you can't sleep on a hardwood floor because it's cold and it's winter. How long would you actually survive out in nature if things did hit the fan? You wouldn't survive very long. You see, you've got to start looking at these exercises as ways of developing your inner strength. Develop your inner strength. And development of inner strength, folks, and physical strength, it doesn't come easy. It doesn't come by laying in beds and being warm. Once you lay your warm body down on the hardwood surface, which is cold, it will eventually heat up the hardwood floor. And hell, you'll even burn a little bit of calories from laying on the hardwood floor that's cold, because anytime your body comes into contact with a cold surface through thermogenesis, your body has to raise its temperature. Raising temperature burns calories. This is why cold showers and cold water therapy, cold thermogenesis, etc. has such merit. You got to snap out of your trance, folks. Here's the thing. The Matrix has made everything convenience, and the Matrix has glorified people for just learning how to make money. You can learn how to make money and be successful by the system's standards and still be a goddamn idiot and still be weaker than fucking weak. Weaker than cotton candy. Weaker than a chain link made of balsa wood. Weaker than a rubber rope, if you will. Although if you made a rubber rope, it might be pretty strong depending on how you weaved it and what type of materials you made it out of. I think you catch my drift, folks. So, one thing, in these things, I don't hear anyone talking about this for the most part. I don't hear people talking about the psychosomatic muscle entrainment that's happened through years of bad posture and the bastardization of your vertebral portals, your vertebral openings, as Frank Rudolph Young likes to refer to them as. Your spine, over the past 20 years, because most of my viewers are over 20, so at least 20 years, your spine has been slowly and consecutively warped. And because you don't practice proper yoga, not this bastardized Western yoga, because you don't practice proper yoga, you continue to have your spine fucking warped. What would be a good analogy? It would be like getting something wet, that when that wet thing dries, if you don't get the water out of it, it curls and dries improperly. That's what it's like. Yoga allows us to bend out of our how we've been locked into an abnormal position. You see, the position of your spine, the position of your body, the position of your vertebral openings, your vertebral portals, and how open they are, this has everything to do with your consciousness, your confidence, the power of your subconscious mind, and more. You see, when you develop the wrong muscle groups, when you constantly frown, when your spine is bent over like an old man when you're in your 20s, that all creates subconscious weakness, and subconscious weakness creates weakness in the material realm. No one else is talking about this, and it's not a bragging right, but I'm so fucking sick of all of the bullshit on YouTube and all of the drivel, just massive amounts of drivel. It's like an entire library full of shit. And somehow, some way, the individual looking for wisdom has to look through all of these dumbass books to find that one gem. Now, luckily, I've done a lot of that, and I've found some serious gems amongst the roughage, and I provide them for free. I know for a fact that yoga, if practiced properly, will literally bring you into states of liberated consciousness out of your problems. Now, I'm not saying it's a cure-all for things like cancers and things like that, but psychologically speaking, a lot of your problems come from your fucking spine and the constriction of your vertebral openings. Opening them, elongating your spine, allows you to get more energy to move from your head to the rest of your body, and more energy to get from through your body, the nerve impulses, up into your fucking head. You see, proper communication from brain to body and body to brain, that takes place through these doorways, these vertebral doorways. So most people's problems are spawned from lack of proper communication, psychosomatic communication, musculoskeletal, all of it, folks. So I'm not going to go off in some large tangent because I've already ranted enough and we're 11 minutes into this video. Stretch your goddamn spine. Get one of those yoga balls, blow it up, and 2 days a week, just start off with 2 days a week for 5 minutes. Lay on that fucking yoga ball and let your spine unwind. Your facial muscles. Lay down in bed, do the full body relaxation exercise, and let your facial muscles go. Like, really learn how to use your mind to regulate your body. You have no clue how powerful. I mean, your mind is the operating system of the body. The body is the hardware. The body is the computer. The mind, the consciousness, the will. That is the software, folks. But you think that you don't know that your mind is the software that has jurisdiction over the hardware. You literally think your body and your mind are like one and the same. And even though they're fused together, your mind has a lot of control over your body. You got to relax your facial muscles. How many of you guys rub your hands together to stimulate the meridians in your hand and actually touch yourself? How many of you actually do these things? Do you know how much power there is in that? Look up the Taoist internal exercises, the work of Dr. Stephen Chang. Self-touch is thousands of years old, folks. Come on. Like, what are you waiting for? There's so many doors to liberation. There's so many doors to heightened health, to heightened consciousness. Yet you're stuck. You're in this fucking poor me victim mentality because your spine is all fucked up. You've got to practice proper yoga. Proper yoga. The elongation, the proper elongation of the vertebral openings. And the strengthening of the proper muscle groups, which will, by default, over time, strengthen your subconscious mind. You see, what a lot of the magic books out there, and even some of the books that I've read that I love, I'm not going to name any names, but some of the authors out there that talk about magic, they're not talking about the subconscious mind and its connection to the physical protoplasm, and how certain muscle groups regulate the strength to a large extent of your subconscious projections that you harbor via belief about your fucking self. So when your muscle groups are toned improperly, or as a man or a woman you have the wrong muscle groups toned, you're sending conflicting information through your subconscious mind, which in turn creates a projection outward of yourself that radiates insecurity. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to wrap this one up. Relax your fucking face, folks. Do the full body relaxation exercise. I have videos dedicated to this subject where I explain exactly how to do it. You've got to actually put the work into action, though. Everybody wants to hoard wisdom. Everybody wants to know what to do. But nobody actually wants to take those pieces of information once they acquire them and do something with it. You're like a sculptor that collects clay and potter's wheels without actually doing anything with them. Peace be with you.